the game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network, around the corner from everywhere. It's time for another edition of the Morning Espresso, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. It was a busy day yesterday. Atlanta United announced early in the morning that Ronny Deila was out as head coach of the club after just one season in charge. 5-16-13, lowest point total in 9 MLS seasons. Never really recovered from a mid-season, I don't know if collapse is maybe the right word to use, funk. Just never got going after that. One MLS win after Memorial Day, that was at Nashville. One Leagues Cup win in that time span as well. It was difficult to watch. It was difficult to see every attempt from Deila to make some progress, to solidify the team, to have them playing better and getting better results. I think he accomplished the playing better part of it for the most part after that kind of dalliance with playing five in the back. Maybe it kind of solidified things a little bit, then went back to the 4-3-3, and I thought there was a noticeable uptick in the quality of play. I think getting Enea Mihai, getting Juan Beracall, getting Steven Alzate helped again with the quality of play, but the results never came. And ultimately, as everybody knows, this is a results-driven business. I don't think it's an indictment on Ronny Deila's coaching ability. I think this is a guy who has won 3 league titles in 3 different countries. He's won MLS Cup before with New York City. He's developed talent. I mean, look at Tati Castellanos and what he did during Deila's time in New York. Other players have benefited from that time. I think here, Bartosz Szlisz, obviously a benefit with a great season for him in the midst of quite a few other poor seasons from individuals. And I talked about it on 92.9 The Game yesterday, right after the announcement. I talked about it on our SDH Breaking News podcast. I feel like individual player performances were the number one issue here. And ultimately, in that case, the manager pays for that with his job. That's just how professional sports go. It's one of the unfair parts of it, because you can make a change on a manager, and that's one change, versus multiple players that you might or might not be able to change. There's no guarantees that this roster can look dramatically different next year. It will look different. There will be additions. There are decisions to make in terms of options, but there are a lot of players at the top end of the roster that are locked in for multiple seasons. Now, could they be transferred out? Yes. Could they be traded within the league? Yes. Could they be bought out if you want to go down that road? Yes, in a couple of occasions. You have the ability to do that twice. But this is what happens when you win 6 games in all competitions, you win 5 in league, and you finish where you do. More often than not, the manager ends up being changed. And that's what's happened here. Atlanta becomes the 6th MLS team this season to make a coaching change. Montreal, Sporting Kansas City, St. Louis City, DC United, New England are in that group as well, spinning on the MLS coaching carousel. Of the 6, only DC has already named a replacement, Rene Weiler, who was in charge on Saturday and decision day. It's a tough ending for Ronny Deila. He came in with optimism. He came in with a plan for structure. I believed in that plan. I wanted to see it play out. I think we did in short bursts, and I think ultimately the players were unable to put that plan into effect. And I want to say one more thing, and I highlighted it pretty strongly on the SDH podcast yesterday. There are a lot of things being said about his tactics being the problem. And I have to push back on that, because his tactics created 15 more expected goals than were actually scored. And his tactics had you as the 9th best defensive team in the league in terms of expected goals allowed. And the team gave up far more than that. tactics are what define how a team plays. Individual moments, one, tactics are game to game, and game model and philosophy and principles are overarching. So terminology aside, we know what we're talking about here. We're talking about the way the team plays. We're not getting into the semantics of individual words. But when you are not scoring as many goals as you create the opportunities for, and you are giving up more goals than you should be based off of those metrics, that's not on the coach. That's on the player performances. That's on execution. That's on getting the job done. So do you have to make a coaching change? Unfortunately, you probably do. It's hard to go into another season after the way this season went. I think you could have, and I think you'd see a better performance next year with some changes in the roster. I do. But this is a harder reset button being hit, and now this makes a very interesting offseason even more so, because who will be the manager? What direction do you go? Is it domestic? Is it international? Is it somebody with MLS experience? Is it somebody who has been here before, like a Tata Martino, who is available at the moment, even though there are reports out of South America that he has a verbal agreement with LAFC? Is it somebody who's never managed an MLS before? It's open-ended in terms of where this discussion goes. Then you're going to have the player side of it. This is a already very intriguing offseason, and it's just gotten even more so with the decision yesterday to fire Ronny Deila. It's a crucial offseason for the front office. You have to find the right manager to, I think, reconnect and connect the dots on the club's identity, re-energize the fan base, bring back an attacking, high-tempo style that you want to see. And I think Ronny Deila wanted to bring that style and just couldn't quite get it over the line. So now these are the things that have to be done. And it is going to be fascinating. There will be a press conference at some point this week, and we'll be there covering it, obviously, and talking about what happens next for Atlanta United. I do want to push back on one other thing, since I'm just deviating from the script a little bit here as we go on Morning Espresso. Yes, any offseason where you have to hire a new coach is a big deal. I do not think that because you are hosting World Cup games next summer that this is a bigger deal. I think it already was a big deal. I don't think there is this window of, well, if you don't win MLS Cup next year, then fans aren't coming back. I thoroughly disagree with that. I think you have to look at last season in the playoffs and the energy in that Inter Miami match, for example, the energy around the city, even when the team was away. There are, in this situation, and I think this is pretty typical across a lot of different cities in the world, to be honest, when a team is not playing well and not getting results and not challenging for trophies, attendance will go down. That's normal. Excitement level will go down. That's normal. But in a city like Atlanta, when that changes, and it can change very quickly in Major League Soccer. Philadelphia didn't make the playoffs last year. They won the Supporters' Shield this year. When that changes, the energy comes back very quickly. I'm not worried about that being the case here. It will happen. You want it to come back as quickly as possible, and that's where you are. And next season's going to be a weird one with the World Cup break in the middle and just what the flow is going to look like calendar-wise. It's, the MLS season is over for Atlanta in 2025. The start to the 2026 season is already underway. It's going to go concurrently with teams playing in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But it is there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot this offseason. So stay tuned to everything that we're doing here on the SDH Network and on my personal Twitter account at Longshoe, and obviously Atlanta Soccer Tonight on 92.9 The Game. There's going to be a lot to talk about between now and opening day in 2026. I mentioned the playoffs. While Atlanta's out, the rest of the league is gearing up for the postseason. Philadelphia got the Supporters' Shield with a game to spare. They're the number one seed in the East. You've got Cincinnati and Columbus, a hell is real playoff series, which is going to be wild. You've got Miami playing Nashville. Lionel Messi had a decision day hat trick, and now they're going to play again in a 3-game series. Charlotte and NYC, both a little shorthanded with red cards on decision day, both dangerous. I'll be curious to see how that series goes. Out west, San Diego FC made history with the best expansion season ever. They will await the winner of the wild card matchup between Portland and RSL. LAFC and Vancouver, I think, are the two biggest threats to San Diego FC. For me, I've said it really since Sonny signed for LA. They are my favorite to win MLS Cup. If you get a LAFC Miami MLS Cup, all the buzz, all the excitement, all the worldwide recognition with Messi and Sonny. We'll see. Thomas Mueller is going to have something to say about that for the Whitecaps. Minnesota, a tough team to knock out. They're in the playoffs. It's going to be a fun MLS Cup playoffs, even with Atlanta out of it. We'll be covering all of it. Looking forward to these matches. Let's bounce over across the Atlantic. Yesterday, Manchester United, a big, big win for them. 2-1 at Anfield over Liverpool. First there in nearly a decade. Maybe this is starting to feel like, I don't know, something going on under Ruben Amorim. Brian Mbeumo, he opened the scoring inside of 63 seconds, the fastest goal in the history of the rivalry at Anfield. Crowd gets silent. United gets early belief. Liverpool did eventually respond through Cody Gakpo in the 78th minute. Manchester United didn't flinch. Just a few minutes later, Bruno Fernandes with a perfect cross. Harry Maguire rose to meet it. Harry Maguire, the hero, big header. That's the winning goal in the 84th minute. Maguire gets some redemption. Amorim gets some validation. And maybe for Manchester United, maybe there's some momentum right now. I thought they looked really good. They were organized. They were aggressive. They were unified. And Liverpool, with all of the additions they made in the summer after winning the title last year, they don't look as organized and as unified. It's not looking right. 4 straight losses for Arne Slot. Manchester United's in 9th place now, 2 points behind Liverpool. Maybe Ruben Amorim has finally got it going in Manchester with United. Not really a whole lot of talk about his formation after this match, was there? Kind of missed that. Let's see if he can cook now. Let's see. This is going to be interesting to watch. All right, around the world, let's bounce around and get caught up on everything from the weekend. Morocco, they captured their first ever U20 World Cup, defeating Argentina 2-0 in the final, the second African nation to win the tournament after Ghana in 2009. Yassir Zabiri, he scored twice, set off celebrations in Rabat, in Casablanca, and showed just what this moment means for not just Morocco, but the continent. It's another chapter in African football right now. Cape Verde with their senior World Cup qualification, Morocco dominating on the senior side and on the youth side now. The future is very, very bright, not just in Morocco, but across the African continent. In the NWSL, Gotham FC and the Portland Thorns, they clinched playoff spots. Racing Louisville hold a slim advantage over North Carolina for the final berth heading into the international break. One more week, the decision day in NWSL will be after this women's international break. In Spain, Real Madrid edged Getafe 1-0. Another goal from Kylian Mbappe keeps them 2 points ahead of Barcelona, ahead of El Clásico. Hansi Flick will be suspended for that after his red card over the weekend. In Europe, the Champions League returns this week. Ousmane Dembélé is back in the PSG squad for their trip to Leverkusen. Manchester City will be without Rodri as Pep Guardiola tries to find that midfield balance without him. And we come back here at home. A big thank you to everyone who joined us yesterday for the launch of Around the Corner Lager. Powered in collaboration with Nofo Brewing, served exclusively at the Brewhouse Cafe. The outside bar sold out in hours. I mean, it was unreal support. People buying pitchers, people drinking out of our SDH and Brewhouse glasses. It was really, really cool to see. Restocks are on the way. More to come as we keep building this amazing partnership with Nofo and with Brewhouse and with all of you. I never thought we'd have an SDH beer. I never thought that I would be able to go into a place that I've watched soccer games in since 1998 and say, yes, I'd like a beer that we named and we helped collaborate on making it. I'd like to have one of those, please. Thank you. Amazing. Just amazing. So thank you to everybody involved. Big thank you to Joe and Eliana at NoFo Brewing and their whole team. Big thank you to Umberto and Michelle and their whole team at the Brew House. Just an amazing day, and there's plenty more to come, especially as we get ready to cover a turbulent offseason here in Atlanta, as we get ready to continue down the pathway to the World Cup next summer, as we get ready for all those little stops in between, like Champions League this week, like El Clasico in Spain next weekend, all these different things. It's going to be a fun ride, and you will be able to be fueled by Around the Corner Lager at the Brewhouse Cafe. Thank you to NoFo Brewing for helping make that happen. That's your morning espresso for today. You might need some espresso after a few Around the Corner lagers the night before. It's brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. From coaching changes to championship dreams, from Anfield to the ATL, the game never stops. Neither do we. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow with another edition of the Morning Espresso.